Throw this book off the balcony, man. I'll do it. The origin of the North American Indians is involved in complete obscurity. That they are one of the older races of mankind cannot be doubted, but at what date or by what route they came to the Western continent is an unsolved problem. Many theories have been proposed to account for the red man's presence in the New World, but most of them have been vague and unsatisfactory. They can't even come close to details. However, the notion, even to think, the notion, even a theory, even a hypothesis that these Indians or these aboriginals here are Israelites is absurd, wildly unreasonable. We have no idea by what path they came. We have no idea when they came. We got no idea who they are. But nigga, you crazy if you think they Israelites. I mean, why would we be living here after slaughtering a bunch of Israelites? What, you think we're heathen or something? We're Christian. We're not heathens. We wouldn't slaughter Israelites and burn crosses on their porches. We wouldn't say convert or die to people of God. Or are we in a chaotic state because of the curse, the germ? Hold that thought. So let's keep going. South of the country of the Algonquins. Matter of fact, I want people to actually read this. Well, I put it up already, but I'm gonna let you read it again. Absurd. And notice, he didn't go into any other theory. He went into no other fact. He went into no other fabled anything or myth about who you are. He only just shot down that fact that you could be from Israel. He also, before that, tried to, shoot down the whole Asiatic thing, right? So we could find traces connecting us to Asia in different ways, you know what I'm saying? Of course, this is our Earth. The whole disconnected process of putting it back together is an abstract thought, it's not a concrete thing. Our people weren't that divided in the sense of Earth being divided, we were very aware of each other. These people, everything's new to them. Newfoundland, new Dutch, new world, new, everything new. They just got out. They were trapped in the old world. They could only travel the Mediterranean Sea. They couldn't get past those pillars of Hercules for a long time until after the sinking of Atlantis and all this kind of stuff. That's when the partitions dropped. But before and in between that, those lands, that Atlantic water was unnavigable. They could not get past that barrier till the Most High allowed them to cross that barrier to bring his judgment on us because we were in chaos spiritually. Yet we were still living in paradise. When they got here, it was still paradise. So you tell me, does Haya love you? How much does your Creator love you that you can be living in a version of paradise to heathen while you're out of order? That even though you were out of order, you still weren't dealing with those diseases and things and all that. He still was holding it back until he just finally just let the barrier down. And it's been down for a few hundred years, right? It's been down for some time, right? And now it's time to get down and lay down. So get that again one more time. The origin of the North American Indians is involved in complete obscurity. That they are one of the older races of mankind cannot be doubted, but at what date or by what route they came to the Western continent is an unsolved problem. We'll never know what route or what time they got here. But let me tell you what I do know. Oh man, I'm Mr. JC Rid Path. I'm writing this in 1876. I want these new Americans to feel good. I want to tell the other people in Europe to come. I want to give 50 acres of these aboriginals land away for free with tools to till the land. I just want to rob everybody, and I want them to feel good. I want them to have, they have no idea about this place. Just give them some good history, And of course, he's, historian, so he's going to kind of put a lot of stuff in it because he can't, he can't help himself but to put the babies in, right? But to make this, this got to be ruddy. This got to be the Negro. Let me tell you what I do know. I don't know nothing else about these people. Many theories have been proposed to account for the red man's presence in the New World, but most of them have been vague and unsatisfactory. But let me tell you what I do know. But I don't know nothing. But the notion that these Indians are Israelites, are descendants of the Israelites, is absurd. That half civilized tribes wandering from the Euphrates should reach North America surpasses human credulity. Humans can't do that. I mean, just the notion that half civilized tribes, so he's just going to demean these people, even though they got all the drop right here that they want, that's being stolen. We're building the White House, but let me tell you, these half civilized tribes wandering from beyond the Euphrates should reach North America surpasses human credulity. So it'll be crazy to see how they can do that, unless it's Moses parting the Red Sea. Now you're getting the cliché, the Mayan cliché. It says that Europeans or Africans at some remote period crossed the Atlantic by voyaging from island to island seems altogether improbable. We heard about the island hopping, how there were other lands that weren't sunk yet that were able to connect different ways, but he's going to call that improbable. So all this stuff is improbable, All this stuff is crazy, but he got no fucking clue. But he can tell you what's crazy. He can tell you what's absurd. I mean, how can you, as a historian, as a scientist, science, you need repeatable and observable evidence. That's why gravity's bullshit. It's a force that you got to believe in. It's a religion. You got to believe in gravity to get your ball. He's just telling you right quick, I got nothing. We got nothing but theories, man. I got a big book. I'm going to tell you kind of some stuff, but as far as who they are, I can only tell you this. I can only tell you who they're not. Israelites. Now, does he start going into giving you proofs and facts and all this stuff, how they cannot possibly be Israelites based on migration patterns, based on dates? No, because he just said he has no information on migration patterns or dates. So he can't prove it, but it's absurd. It's wildly unreasonable, illogical, or inappropriate. It's inappropriate to even bring up the notion that we are sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But he can tell us, who we're not, and he can't tell us who we are, right? So put down on the shirt, man. How can they tell us who we are if they can't tell us who we are? If they can't tell us who we are, how can they tell us who we're not? Now, along that drop, I want you to, I'm just going to read it and I'll show it to you. Beyond the Rocky Mountains were the Indian nations of the plains, the great family of the Shoshones, the Salish, the Klamaths, and the Californians. On the Pacific slope, farther southward, dwelt in former times the famous races of Aztecs and Toltecs. These were the most civilized of the primitive Indian nations. See, they can't even front all that, all those palaces they found in Mexico. They can't even front all that in Peru. These were the most civilized of the primitive Indian nations, but at the same time, they got to do that, but then they got to dish you because they got to give it. This is how they operate. They build you up, but then they enjoy cutting you down even more, man. These were the most civilized of the primitive Indian tribes, but at the same time, among the most feeble. The best builders in wood and stone. Again, they can't front on the palaces, on the intellect, but then they're going to call you weak. But the least warlike of any of the Aborigines. Really? The Aztecs were the least warlike? of any Aborigines? Then we just read how the Mayans and Aztecs kicked the Spaniards out in 1638, sent them running and packing. And they never taught us in history that these Aztecs and Mayans kicked out the Spaniards in 1638. Then after that, what do you have coming in? Portuguese, the English, the French. And what did they bring? Disease, because they said, we ain't going into them jungles. That's how the Mayans and them fought. You know what I'm saying? They came out, they scrapped, and they retreated back in the jungles and picked everybody off. When the armies came in, they got lost. They didn't know where they were disoriented. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's that's the goal of war. That's why we were winning that until people started doing treaties. And they say, man, if it wasn't for the treaties, man, our numbers were being depleted. So that's why I'm on the treaties, man. And how can you, come on, we got to keep it real right now, or else we ain't going to get nowhere. We go through a similar situation right now. We are already invaded, but let's say your little bitty hood, your little suburb gets invaded. All right, you get invaded in Inglewood, or you get invaded in Harlem or Chicago. You get invaded. You already are, but you know what I'm saying. And then you gotta, fight. You and your family or your block or your hood gotta fight the best way you can, right? Because some foreign entity is invading your native entity, right? And let's say, there's two. Let's say we talking gangs, right? So there's two gangs, and one of them gangs does a treaty with the invaders. Does that make you stronger or weaker? So if we can't front on you, can't front on. That gang might say all day, hey man, I had to look out for my people, man, for my heritage, for Moab, for the Moabites. Whose land is this? It belongs to Aya. Who are his children? You. It's very simple. So again, it says the Aztecs and Toltecs, all right? So these were the most civilized of the primitive Indian tribes, but at the same time, among the most feeble, the best builders in wood and stone, but the least warlike of any of the Aborigines, such as a brief sketch of the distribution of the copper-colored race in the New World. The territorial position of the various nations and tribes will be easily understood from an examination of the accompanying maps. So we're going to look at this map, accompanying maps, okay. All right, so I'm going to drop a couple of these things, man. We'll get out of here. But get this yourself, and I'll read it again. I'm trying to get you the whole page. You got the whole bandwagon. Let's do it editing style. Got it. I love y'all, man. That's why I'm holding this heavy book. It's kind of a workout, but it's all good. Brother needed. Oh, man, there's so much drop. Okay, so I'll read that again. On the Pacific slope, farther southward, dwelt in former times the famous races, the famous races. See, they've heard about us. We are infamous in their world. But when they got past that partition, they came into, in their eyes, a new thing, a new world, in their abstract understanding of our earth. We understand we're all one body with energies and chakras, whatever you want to call it. Cusco, Peru is the navel. It's called the navel. What comes out of the navel? It's a birthing canal of what? On the Pacific slope, southward dwelt in the former times the famous races of Aztecs and Toltecs. These were the most civilized of the primitive Indian nations, but at the same time among the most feeble, the best builders in wood and stone, but least warlike of any of the Aborigines. Such is a brief sketch of the distribution of the copper-colored race in the New World. Now, I guess it's supposed to be a sketch here, and you see right here, like something looks like it got torn out. So somebody removed this sketch out the book. So if somebody got a different version of it, let me know around page 44 if you got a sketch of copper-colored people. But I do got the map. I do got some map stuff, but no sketch of copper-colored people. And again, this is copper-colored. This is Ruddy. This is Negro. This is Maya. This is Aztec. Understand? This is Israel. This is Israel. Such is a brief sketch of the distribution of the copper-colored race in the New World. The territorial position of the various nations and tribes will be easily understood from an examination of the accompanying map. All right. Right? So first, we don't know who these people are. We got no clue, but we know they're copper-colored, just like the 1828 Webster Dictionary said. You know, and but they can't be Israelites. That's just wildly unreasonable, illogical, and inappropriate, although we have no idea about the migration pattern. Here's a nice map, though. There's some drop. Okay, this says Aboriginal America. Aboriginal America showing the distribution and territorial lines of the Indian nations in the New World. All right, so I'll let you just dig on it. I have not really looked at this yet. Let's see this side first. Maybe I'll just do that. And I'll zoom in a little bit. Maybe you can get closer on some of that. That's kind of hard to read. Good. View.